How's it going, guys? What of course you'll be seeing today is me break down and talk about the auto rifle in Destiny called Suros Regime, and this is after the auto rifle nerf. It can be acquired in various ways through random drops in the Crucible, Nightfall strikes, or in the raid through chests, or even defeating Atheon, something like that. Usually it's a chest. Personally, I bought this auto rifle off Xur in the black market a few weeks ago when it was available, and it was also available on the October 25th weekend that Xur came by, so if you didn't get it the first time, you could have got it then. Too late now, I suppose, if you didn't get it. I got the rough stats from DestinyDB.com, and I'll be using them to break the gun down. It starts with a 248 base damage and increases to a max of 300 once you've completed all the upgrades. You'll need Glimmer, weapon parts, and Ascendant Energy, and either some form of Relic Iron, Spirit Bloom, or something of that sort to upgrade it. The fire rate's listed at 77%, the impact rating is 28, the range is listed at 40, stability is 82%, which is very high for an auto rifle, and a reload percent of 65, and a magazine size of 33. So already just by looking at the preliminary stats, minus the perks that alter the weapon, and like the barrels and etc. that'll basically focus on range, stability, etc. Looking at the preliminary outputs, this thing has monster written all over it already. Just look at the stability rating. In terms of PvP damage output, the Suros Regime actually outputs for 30 damage on non-critical and 37 on headshots after both the focus fire and Suros Regime upgrades are unlocked, and when you're firing through the sights. The Suros Regime perk allows for the last half of the magazine to deal increasing damage per bullet as well. And the damage, of course, is less when you're not scoped in due to the focus fire perk, which I'll talk about in a second. With regard to the skill tree, all Suros Regime are the same because, well, they're exotics and there's no variation between them. And first off, you have three clear options in terms of recoil control. Field Choke, which will increase range and impact. Linear Compensator, which increases recoil but makes it more manageable. Or Smart Drift Control, which massively increases stability at a slight cost to range and impact, and that's my choice because I don't feel it's, as long as I'm accurate, it's not a huge detriment to lose the above two that much, because it's not a huge hit to it. When breaking down the skill tree, the first important perk of note is Focus Fire, as I talked about earlier, which is basically slows down the fire rate when you zoom in, but it increases the damage, so there's that trade-off. The next three perks, which you'll have a choice over, will be Higher Caliber Round, which knock back the enemy in PvE, less so in PvP, but reduces range. Hammer Forged, which increases both range and accuracy. And Lightweight, which to me is the least appealing of the above, but it's still a viable option, especially if you want to move around quicker. The most important perk, which makes this weapon absolutely frightening, is Suros Regime, which allows the bottom half of the magazine to deal increasing damage per bullet, like I was alluded to earlier. But on top of that, it has a chance to return health while you're dealing damage. And just think about that for a second. While increasing the damage, it allows you to restore health in a close firefight in, say, PvP. So that's a huge, huge bonus. And the rest of the perks, and there's 5 more, are damage upgrades. With regard to my overall impressions of the weapon, from the overall perk analysis, trying to convince you this weapon isn't good, even after the auto rifle nerf, would be a waste of your time. It truly is one of the top weapons in the game. The damage per shot or impact is outstanding, and when you combine it with excellent recoil control, and even minus the perks, it doesn't have much recoil anyway, you get a weapon that can hold its own at just about all ranges minus maybe short. And even if you're decent at hip fire and the other guy, you have a jump on him, you can probably win that too. The fire rate's just average, it's not very high, but again, the damage outputs for all of the perks I alluded to earlier gives you an incredible DPS. This is a weapon, of course, that if you have it, you love it, and if you don't have it, you hate it. It's just one of those weapons. It's like the M16A3 of Battlefield 3. It's a weapon that can be used in every single PvE scenario, including the raid, so that's another plus for it. And overall, yes, like my overall thoughts, it doesn't really have a true weakness except for shorter range, because anyone with fusion rifles or shotguns is going to probably light you up. But if you have the jump on them, like I said, you can hip fire your way to a win. General strategy for this thing is I wouldn't even use hip fire. Just stay scoped in the whole time. The DPS output you're going to get and the chance to regenerate health, way too good to sacrifice. But again, stick to medium or longer range for your best output. But yeah, this is to sum up overall, I'd say a top 3 weapon in the game. It truly is fantastic. So if you get a chance to, make sure you get a chance to buy this weapon. Go for it. It's fantastic. Have a good one.